In this video, we'll be learning about 14 Amazon Bedrock strategies. I am Chris, cloud architect and founder of systemsarchitect.io and codeguides.io. Generative AI moves fast, and the teams winning with Amazon Bedrock are the ones treating it as a platform to be engineered, not just an API to be called. Get these 14 practices right, and you'll cut costs, avoid compliance headaches, and ship agentic applications that actually hold up in production. This rundown covers governance, model selection, retrieval, agents, and the operational discipline that keeps a Bedrock deployment healthy long after launch. 14 Amazon Bedrock strategies. 1. Implement Bedrock Guardrails for responsible AI. 2. Adopt tiered model selection and intelligent prompt routing. 3. Build a knowledge bases and RAG strategy. 4. Design multi-agent orchestration workflows. 5. Optimize costs with prompt caching and batch inference. 6. Implement token usage monitoring. 7. Security and access controls. 8. Response validation. 9. Prompt engineering guidelines and version control. 10. Implement retry mechanisms. 11. Performance monitoring. 12. Fallback strategy. 13. Data privacy compliance. 14. Testing and evaluation framework. 1. Implement Bedrock Guardrails for responsible AI. Guardrails is the policy layer that sits between your application and every model in the Bedrock catalog, so the same rules apply across the board. Configure content filters for hate, insults, violence, and prompt injection across text and image inputs, and define denied topics in plain language instead of brittle keyword lists. Layer in sensitive information filters for PII plus custom regex patterns, and add contextual grounding checks that catch hallucinations before they ever reach a user. Apply one guardrail configuration across every model and revisit it with every new use case. If you like this video, subscribe to our channel and like this video. 2. Adopt tiered model selection and intelligent prompt routing. Choosing the right foundation model for each task is the single highest impact decision you'll make in Bedrock. Build a tiered lineup that pairs Nova Micro or Nova Lite for simple classification and structured extraction with Nova Pro or Claude for deeper reasoning. How much cheaper can a smaller model be? Nova Micro can be well over 100 times cheaper per token than a flagship Claude model, so benchmark small before assuming you need premium. Use intelligent prompt routing to escalate only on low confidence and rerun your model evaluation on a regular cadence. 3. Build a knowledge bases and RAG strategy. Bedrock knowledge bases let you ground model responses in your own documents instead of relying purely on training data, which matters for accuracy on company questions. Query a knowledge base directly through retrieve and generate for simple lookups, or attach it to a Bedrock agent for complex retrieval. Choose your chunking strategy deliberately. Pick a vector store like OpenSearch Serverless or Aurora with PG Vector, and insist responses come back with citations. A strong RAG setup turns a general purpose model into a domain expert without any fine-tuning. 4. Design multi-agent orchestration workflows. Bedrock agents now support parallel tool execution, persistent memory, and knowledge base aware retrieval built into the agent loop, making complex multi-step workflows far more practical. Design a supervisor agent that delegates subtasks to specialized collaborator agents and give each agent a narrow, well-defined tool set. Instrument every agent invocation with tracing so you can see which step caused a bad outcome. Cap the number of tool calls and total runtime per session to avoid runaway loops racking up cost. And start with a 2-agent pattern before a 5-agent swarm. 5. Optimize costs with prompt caching and batch inference. Why does token consumption matter so much? It's the biggest cost driver in any Bedrock deployment, so attacking it directly pays off fast. Enable prompt caching for repeated system prompts and context to cut input token costs by up to 90% and route real time optional workloads to batch inference at roughly half the on demand rate. Combine both wherever they apply, since the savings stack. Set a hard prompt size ceiling in code and track cost per successful outcome, not per API call. 6. Implement token usage monitoring. Set up CloudWatch metrics to track token consumption by use case and by team. Monitoring at this granularity lets you catch a runaway prompt before it burns the budget. Set alarms on both volume spikes and rate of change, and tie dashboards to your quota limits for advance warning. Break down input versus output tokens and share dashboards with whoever owns the budget, not just engineering. 7. Security and access controls. Configure fine-grained IAM policies scoped to specific Bedrock APIs and models, instead of broad access for every role. Route Bedrock traffic through VPC endpoints so requests never traverse the public internet, and encrypt data in transit and at rest with KMS managed keys. Separate IAM roles by function, so invoking a model is distinct from managing guardrails or agents. Log every API call through CloudTrail for a full audit trail, and rotate credentials on a fixed schedule. 8. Response validation. Never pass a model's output straight to a user without validating it first, since even a well-tuned model sometimes produces malformed or ungrounded output. What catches a hallucination before a user sees it? Guardrails contextual grounding checks score responses against source documents whenever factual claims are involved. Build a lightweight rubric for what counts as acceptable for your application, and sample production responses for ongoing human review. Log validation failures with enough context to reproduce them, since these logs become your best source of new test cases. I should mention, this presentation is a condensed version of the complete article on blog.systemsarchitect.io. View the full blog article with more details there. 9. Prompt engineering guidelines and version control. Maintain a shared prompt library so your team isn't reinventing effective phrasing for every feature, and standardize on formats that work well for your model mix. Use Bedrock's prompt management features to version prompts alongside model configurations, so changes stay distinct and attributable. Keep prompts under the same review process as code, and tag each version with the evaluation results behind it, so you can roll back with confidence. Run every prompt change through your evaluation suite before it ships. 10. Implement retry mechanisms. Design retry logic for every Bedrock API call to handle transient errors and throttling gracefully instead of surfacing raw errors. Use exponential backoff with jitters so simultaneous retries don't compound into a bigger overload. Cap the maximum retries, distinguish retryable errors like throttling from non-retryable ones like a malformed request, and log every retry to spot patterns early. Pair retry logic with your fallback strategy so an exhausted request has somewhere else to go. 11. Performance monitoring. Set up comprehensive monitoring for API latency, error rates, and token throughput across every model and region, since performance varies between them. Why keep an eye on latency by region? Cross-region inference profiles can improve latency or add automatic failover, and breaking down metrics by model and prompt length reveals what averages hide. Correlate dips with deployment events and traffic spikes to tell a code issue from a capacity issue. Set performance SLOs specific to your own application rather than generic benchmarks. 12. Fallback strategy. Design fallback mechanisms for every point where a primary model might be unavailable or unsuitable. Keep at least one alternate model configured and tested so an outage doesn't take your entire application down with it. For latency sensitive paths, consider a rule based or cached response as a last resort, and test that path regularly, not just at launch. Log every fallback activation so you can quantify how often primary systems are actually failing. 13. Data privacy compliance. Map exactly what data flows into every Bedrock call, since privacy regulations care about what leaves your boundary, not just what a model does with it. Redact or tokenize sensitive fields before they reach a model, using guardrails sensitive information filters as one layer of defense, not the only one. Understand the data residency and retention commitments for each region and provider, and document your data handling for audit readiness. Involve legal and compliance stakeholders early and re-review data flows whenever you add a new knowledge base. 14. Testing and evaluation framework. Build a testing framework covering both deterministic checks like schema validation and the fuzzier evaluation of output quality generative AI requires. Use Bedrock's model evaluation capabilities to run structured comparisons on your own dataset and maintain a regression suite that runs automatically whenever a model or guardrails configuration changes. Include adversarial test cases for prompt injection and jailbreaks. Track evaluation metrics over time and involve a human reviewer periodically, since automated metrics alone miss nuances that matter to real users. Bedrock in July 2026 is a genuinely different platform than it was even a year ago. With guardrails, knowledge bases, and multi agent orchestration now central to how serious applications get built rather than optional add ons. The teams getting the most value are pairing that expanded capability with the same operational discipline that's always mattered: monitoring, validation, retries, and clear ownership of cost and compliance. Revisit these 14 practices on a regular cadence, because the fastest moving part of this platform isn't the infrastructure, it's the model catalog sitting on top of it, and your strategy needs to keep pace. Get the fundamentals right, and Bedrock becomes a durable foundation for whatever generative AI feature you build next. Thanks for checking out this video. Hope you liked it and subscribe to the channel. Find a lot more articles and guides both on systemsarchitect.io and codeguides.io. Again, that's systemsarchitect.io and codeguides.io.